Apologetic fails. The priests were allowed to have slaves. Slavery was ubiquitous. God was 100% fine with slavery. When I was a Christian, if somebody had shown me this verse, I think it would have rocked my faith. And I don't know if I would have been taken out of it. And so you might be able to help me. Maybe I wasn't a true Christian. It says here in Leviticus 21, verse 9, and this is just for the priests, but it says, when the daughter of a priest profanes herself through prostitution, she profanes her father. What? She shall be burned to death.
Ugh.
Sheesh.
They'll burn her alive. Now, does that...
He said sheesh.
Yeah.
that was the right
Sheesh,
answer.
y'all. So, bro, what do you make of this? Like, is this not enough to just be like, no?
Oh, that's crazy.
It is crazy. So, like, but what do you do with it now? Now that you've seen it? Because when I was a Christian and maybe I wasn't a true Christian, I would have been like, yeah, no, this isn't an all good God. Like, no, the good God wouldn't. This isn't the good God. This isn't the loving God.
That hasn't happened in Scripture, right?
What are you talking about? Like that this literally happened? Well,
yeah.
who knows? But it was something that God wanted to happen. It was something that, because the priests were so like on such another level, right? Like they were the perfect people. I guess actually, what is your point? That it negates it if God just commands it and it never comes to pass or something?
Or I'm trying to say it's just it didn't happen, like it wasn't enacted, like the law wasn't actually.
Like he didn't mean it. Well, you're kind of like, he didn't mean it.
No, that's not.
He didn't mean it. He was just saying it.
It was sort of like whoever has no stone cast the first stone type of stuff.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Or whoever.
I mean, a guy was stoned for picking up sticks on the Sabbath. They were throwing stones. Maybe this just never happened, or maybe it happened and it wasn't recorded. But the point is, we still have to deal with God saying, if this is the case, you must burn this human woman alive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like you still have to deal with it.
I mean, you're talking about a country that probably like loves like OnlyFans and like schmexing with like, ladies and.
They like that?
Yeah, the Israelites love that.
They had OnlyFans. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they did have tablets, but I don't think it was that type of tablet. Like you've probably read the word tablet, you think, but they're just stones. They didn't have screens.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, though, right? By that,
if they were all like going crazy, being prostitutes all over the place, you think this would be justified? Are you trying to justify this? Is that what's happening here?
I'm just saying, it's like if it was such a purist nation, they would have enacted it. But since they were not.
But bro, just to be clear, like people could do prostitution and things. Like there could be prostitutes. They were, I'm sure, frowned upon, but that stuff, women being profane and stuff, was something that they could do and not be burned alive. But if it's the priest's daughter, right? So the priest is so special. He has to be holy. For I, the Lord, I who sanctify you, am holy. They shall be holy to you, for I, the Lord, right? So priests, they are cut above. So they're not, they can't have anything around them that's defiled.
I'm going to actually side with Bro on this one. Sorry, Joel, but like, I think he's right that obviously they weren't really doing this. If they were following God's commands, then it would be like horrendously immoral. Right, like to follow God's plan and his rules here would be like a really terribly immoral thing to do, which is why they weren't following the rules that were written down, right?
I more of I approached it from the perspective of whoever doesn't have a thing in his eye, you can throw the stone. Or what did he say? I forgot.
Yeah, what was the thing that was supposed to be in the eye, Joel? Yeah. There was a thing where
that's not what I'm trying to say.
a speck in. No, it was a.
No, it was something about if somebody has a boulder in his eye, don't throw a pebble and think that you're going to knock it out of his eye or something.
No. That was you can throw stones at people's eyes if they're like priest prostitutes or whatever like that. But there was something else about like if you haven't seen the speck in my eye,
don't
take out your brother's rocks. Something
I'm
out
trying,
of
what I'm trying to say
off
is
your brother's eyes.
It literally
That's what it was.
requires you to have such a purest life in order to enact this. You know what I mean?
Bro, there's nothing in the Bible that says, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I mean, the Old Testament in these laws, okay? That's just not something to bring up right now. What we have to deal with is what Mezzo is saying, is that enacting these laws would be incredibly immoral because the law is immoral that we should be burning somebody alive. And any of your moving and shaking and weaseling isn't really helping that. I hope you can see that, right? Like, even if they never ever did it, even if women would prostitute themselves and they were like,
it's crazy.
We're not following God's law. That's ridiculous. Even if that was the case, that doesn't negate the law itself. That doesn't solve the problem that Yahweh gave this law. Do we not agree on that?
Yeah, that's a crazy law, right? Can you imagine just like taking someone and just like burning them at a stake? Like that would be crazy.
Yeah, and
at the command of your Lord, especially, like, right. You know, the all good God told you to. You like feel like I really got to follow through on this. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
and it's because these people, these priests, have to be at a higher moral level, right? They have to be completely pure and holy. They can only marry a woman who is a virgin, right? Nobody that's slept with anyone else. A widow or a divorced woman or a woman who has been defiled. It says, I'm reading it right here. A woman who has been.
I'm just saying, I highly doubt like they live that up. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter if they live it, bro. You got to stop with that. We're talking about what God commands of them. A woman or a divorced woman or a woman who has been defiled, a prostitute, he shall not marry those people. He shall marry a virgin of his own people. He has to be so pure that he's only marrying another Hebrew, that he may not profane his offspring among his people. For I am the Lord, I sanctify him. It's like one who has a blemish shall draw near, one who is blind or lame, or one who is mutilated or deformed. These people can't be priests. They wouldn't be allowed to be to perform as priests. Or one who has a broken foot or a broken hand or a hunchback or a dwarf or a man with a defect in his eye or an itching disease or scabs or crushed testicles. No descendant of Aaron, a priest who has a blemish, shall come near to offer the Lord's offering by fire. So these people had to be perfect in every way, to the point of burning their daughters alive. Bro, are you getting the level of perfection that these priests had to be at?
Yeah.
They had to have perfect testicles.
They had to be incredibly perfect.
They had to have absolutely perfect testicles. These were the pinnacle of all of the Hebrews. They were
I don't
holy.
know about you, but like my testicles are sort of like, I would say it's like 9.9 out of 10.
Yeah, mine are 10s, but mine are absolutely or 11s. Mine go to 11 in it, but it doesn't it. But bro, this is how holy and sanctified these people had to be. And then check this out. This is what I found weird. You go to chapter 22, and it says, no lay person shall eat the sacred donations. No bound or hired servant of the priest shall eat of the sacred donation. If the priest acquires anyone by purchase, the person may not eat of them. Those people who are born in his house may eat of this food. The priest can own slaves. Did you notice that, bro?
Can purchase?
Yeah, the priest acquires anyone by purchase if he buys a slave.
If he buys a slave, he can't what?
Yeah, if he has a bound or hired servant of the priest, they can't eat the sacred donations of his home. But if he acquires a slave, if he buys someone, like a foreigner or something, they may eat of the sacred food, which is pretty similar to other laws that happen. So this person who's at the pinnacle of holiness, he's the most pure. He's so pure that his daughter must be burned alive if she's a prostitute. He can own slaves.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't have an answer to that. I don't even have like an excuse.
This is God's standard, right, bro?
Yeah. Like yeah. This is.
Are you?
Bro, you're not really acting like a true Christian. What you need to do here is try to like. Say context. Say what's the context.
I'm allowed to question it as well. Well, I don't have an answer. The context is, I think he read the whole thing, so we get the point of holiness and whatnot. But
bro,
at the same time, he says burn your daughter if she's like sleeping around. But at the same time, it says also you can own slaves. So because. Yeah, this slavery, that's a good one.
So bro, when I was a Christian, if I had been confronted by this, because I had never heard this stuff until after I left Christianity. I left for different reasons, but I think it would have really, like, I would have questioned things to the point of being like, I don't know that I can follow this God, right? I would have had to be honest with myself, and maybe that's because I wasn't a true Christian. Are you more of a true Christian, or are you kind of a reasonable person where you're like, yeah, you know what, maybe this is just hogwash, like that doesn't reflect?
No, I question it. I'm not afraid to question it. Like I'm not afraid to question it. Like that's a good point. Like I would if it gets too far with this whole shit, you know what I mean? Like I'll be like, yeah, what's wrong with this? Like there's something off with this.
You got to dump it. You got to dump it, right? There is a apologetic that Christians use that say, oh, all the people were flawed, and so they were allowed to have, God allowed them to have slaves, even though he didn't want them to have slaves. But the priests can't count for that, because these people are the pinnacle of holiness. Yeah, they can't marry someone who's been divorced. So Abraham allowed divorce because of the hardness of their hearts. Doesn't apply to priests, okay? This is not something that we can do with them. So that apologetic fails. The priests were allowed to have slaves. Slavery was ubiquitous. God was 100% fine with slavery. So that's what this is, okay? Write it down. God, there's no way out of this. God wanted his best people to have slaves. This is made up, right? This is just a group of people who wanted slaves who are making it up, right? Right, bro? It's got to be just people that are making it up, right?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
That makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah.